watching Business Incorporated. South African Finance Minister Tito Mboweni will have to show commitment to curb spending and reining debt in this week's budget while finding ways to revive an economy that probably contracted the most in 9 decades last year. Mboweni will present the government's spending framework for the next 3 years on Wednesday after the coronavirus pandemic ravaged Africa's most industrialized economy, increasing the strain on already stretched public finances and even forcing the ruling African National Congress to end its long-held resistance to borrowing from the International Monetary Fund. Matt Kindiger, an associate practice lead at Frontier View, joins us now to outline what to expect from the budget and what it will mean for economic outlook and businesses in the country. Hello, Matt. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for having me on the program today.
Yeah. So how will the recent fiscal trends shape the budget speech this week?
So it's probably worth looking back a little bit to see how bad things were last year. So the government did face significant increases in fiscal pressures last year as a result of a substantial drop in tax revenues, while at the same time it rolled out a 500 billion rand stimulus, which was the largest ever on record. And so this contributed to an estimated budget deficit of around about 15% of GDP, which is really quite significant. But I would say over the last 3 to 6 months, there has been some good news. So there has been an increase in global commodity prices, which has resulted in a revenue windfall for the South African government. And there was also a decline in the cost of borrowing for the government in 2020. So both these factors will offer some relief for the government. And this does mean that we are expecting the budget speech to include less immediate tax increases, less immediate spending cuts, so slightly less aggressive pace of consolidation over the next 6 months or so.
Okay, so how are businesses in South Africa likely to be affected by developments in the budget speech?
So there are a couple of things to bear in mind. One is the short-term sentiment aspect. So the moderately upbeat tone in the budget speech will probably support short-term sentiment, investor sentiment, portfolio inflows into South Africa. And we are expecting to see less rand volatility than we previously were forecasting for 2021. So this is probably a good thing. But for businesses, crucially, we are unlikely to see significant tax rises for 2021 yet, but these can't be ruled out later on in the year. For example, income taxes as well are unlikely to rise significantly in the budget speech, but again, probably later in 2021, we can expect them to rise. Sectors that are exposed to government spending as well, they were bracing themselves for much weaker public sector demand, but actually we probably won't see as a stronger consolidation. So public sector demand will probably be a bit more resilient than previously forecast.
What is the longer-term outlook for South Africa's public finances, and how will this influence government spending and investment plans in the coming years?
Yes, so the positive developments of the last 3 to 6 months are really quite short-term, and in a way, they will be delaying the inevitable, which is the need for quite substantial consolidation. So that means longer-term trends of much weaker government spending increases every year, and also much weaker investment in infrastructure projects, for example. So the government's fiscal capacity to stimulate the economy, to increase spending, will be very limited. We also have this problem of a chronic problem of highly indebted and very inefficient state-owned enterprises. For example, Eskom, although it is turning a corner, the energy utility, we do expect the Eskom to require significant additional government support over the coming years. And so this again will restrict the government's ability to fund other areas of government spending. So although the next 6 months are probably not going to look terrible, the next couple of years are slightly less optimistic in terms of the government's finances in South Africa.
All right, I guess we'll get the outcome of the speech by Wednesday. All right, Matt, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.